Hey guys, what's going on? It's Brandon. So those of you new to the channel, we talk about some really technical stuff, and I'm not a dummy. Things that I'm ignorant on, I'll admit I don't know much about that yet, but I'll figure it out quick. I've always been a very fast learner, and I've always been, I then surpass the people who teach me things. Like I'm very good at engineering and physics and different things like that. So I grasp concepts really quickly, and then I pass beyond it pretty quickly. So we talk about basically whatever interests me on this channel. Obviously, Corvettes is one of them. That's why the channel is called Vet Titans. We've also been talking about, crypto and different things for a while. I see the most potential right now with BSV for massive gains. And I'm going to link it to one key reason, okay? When the security exchange, what's his name, Ginsler or whatever. So just for the record, real quick, here's BSV, okay? It's trading at 26.72 cents, okay? So $26.72. Its volume, again, in the last 24 hours is over 10% of its total market cap, okay? That's a really big deal if you stop and think about, like let's say you go to like Bitcoin, which is a famous one, right? Let's just put that into perspective. So you go to BTC, look up that one. So in the last 24 hours, it says that, let's see, 2.82% of the total market cap was traded in the last 24 hours. Let's do another one. What's another one that you guys all like? Ripple? I mean, I don't know what else there is here to compare it to. We'll do XRP, which is Ripple. Let's see what that one's about. So in the last 24 hours, it's traded 3.74%, okay? So the point is, there's something going on with BSV. It's one of two reasons, if not both reasons, but it's one of two reasons in my mind. Either one, there's an exchange of the coins where they're basically huge whales coming in, whether it's institutions or individuals or whatever it is, and they're just coming in and they're just buying it all up. Or, and I want to say it's or certain exchanges are swirling the coins around synthetically on the exchanges, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. And you say, well, why would they do that? It's called price manipulation. So, are they price manipulating it to raise the price? I think the evident answer to that question is no, because it is at an all-time low basically right now. Like if I zoom out to a 1-year chart, you can see we're at an all-time low. If I go to an all, okay, we are basically at an all-time low. It started out at $70. Now we're down to 26. It had a big spike up into the 400s there, I think is where it went, if I'm not mistaken. And now we're back down to 26.71 as we speak. So the point is, if there's price manipulation going on because they're swirling the coins around to synthetically hold the price down, I just said what they're doing. They're holding the price down. And you say, well, why are they holding the price down? Back to the first step, because they're trying, big whales, power players are trying to get in, and they're holding the price down so that people lose interest in this coin. Now, what is the key about this that makes it better than all other coins? That all other blockchain, basically, all things that are stored on the blockchain. What makes it better? The key that it has that nothing else has is it could never be ruled, if it was given a fair shake, it could never be ruled as a security. It will always be ruled as a commodity. Even if BTC, which is the current Bitcoin symbol, okay, which is the one that's trading at, $111,000 today, I believe is where it's at. Even if BTC was ruled as a security, BSV could still be ruled as a commodity. Why is that? It's because BSV starts with the number 1 and BTC starts with the number 3. So what happens is when they created BTC and Bitcoin Cash and all these different ones, they did forks. Now, what they did was they did a switcheroo on the names. Originally, BTC was the coin, okay, the crypto that started with the number 1 in the computer code. But then when the forks happened, BSV retained the number 1 code. So there were basically like 2 forks that happened, okay? And ultimately, there's more than that, but there's the first one was the Bitcoin Cash fork happened, and then the second one was the BSV and the Bitcoin Cash fork happened second. So ironically, it's almost like a magic trick where the elites are trying to get the masses to forget about which one is the original. But as far as computer program code is concerned, BSV is the original. So that means it is the commodity. Because of the way that Bitcoin was brought into the world, the original BSV code, the way that it was brought into the world, it's already been ruled by Harvard and all the Yale and all the judges and everybody that it is the true commodity. So what that means is the SEC has no regulation to quote unquote shut it down. So if there's a crash in the future, which I anticipate quantum computing will create a flash crash with crypto, the SEC will then have an excuse to get involved once there's all these crashes, because there'll be all these people like, this was a scam, Purple PayPay was a scam, this was a scam, this was a scam, XRP was a scam, Ethereum was a scam. People will be able to argue that all these other things are a scam. Ethereum, they can create as much Ethereum as they want, the owner can. So BSV, there is a total of 21 million coins, and my technology, which I haven't released yet, it can be paired with any fiat, it can be paired with any crypto, and it can lock in and mandate that there's only X amount of whatever it is, and the public can double check that. So my technology actually eliminates the synthetic shares on the exchanges being able to be swirled round and round to fool the masses. So like, let's say you're just using the same coins over and over and over and over. Like, let's say that like at near light speed, you're using one Bitcoin and you're just swinging it around the exchanges all day long to create this artificially high volume, okay, at a certain price. My technology reveals that. I have the solution to all this stuff, guys. So I haven't released it yet because I've just been sitting back. I always follow my gut in life, and I've been sitting back and just trying to figure out what is up from down right now in the world. I hear the masses complain about this, but yet the same masses who complain, I'm just going to focus on my friends who are pretty smart individuals. The masses who complain about all this stuff, they're socialist communists, because all that they can do is talk about how President Trump is going to fix it. I'm going to go push a button in the voting booth, and now it's all going to be fixed because I elected somebody to solve it for me. And when I say, hey guys, by the way, I've got this technology, and if I patent it and announce it to the world, it's a really big deal. Anybody want to even just engage in conversation with me, which helps me a lot? People don't have time. They don't understand that I would repay them tremendously after I'm super wealthy. So really the last several years of my life have really just been, we'll just say since 2018, 2016 even, have been extremely eye-opening to me about how short-sighted and on drugs, on steroids, on testosterone treatment, which fucks up people's brains, I've noticed how just deliberately foolish so many people are. They're proud of the fact that, well, you're a nobody, Brandon. Guys, I got perfect 40 out of 40 at State Science Fair. Okay, I've done a lot of things in my life that prove I'm not a dumbass. I've got all the diagrams to all these different patents. I figured out, okay, so let's move back to the Corvette stuff. I figured out problems with the Corvettes before the rest of the community understood it. I predicted that the Grand Sport was going to have the front air pass through, and that the ZR1 Reveal had, there were tricks up General Motors' sleeve, and they end up firing Harlan, who I believe was behind the Grand Sport surprise. So I want to revisit the Grand Sport here real quick, because I'm going to put that in this episode. I want to put that into, let me see something here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go, I gotta remember where to go here to find what I need to find. But anyway, while I'm doing that, I'm going to continue to talk about blockchain. They can remedy BSV to be quantum proof once they figure out how the quantum attack works. They can fix BSV or potentially any other crypto to be quantum proof. But the question is, after the crash, which ones is the SEC not going to be able to give a hard time? Well, if BSV is already at the bottom, it can't crash any further. You see what I'm saying? Relatively speaking, whereas Bitcoin could go from $111,000 a share down to, hypothetically $1,000 a share. Okay, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying hypothetically it could easily happen. How much lower is BSV going to go if it's only $26? So BSV is not going to be on the radar of crashes, and it's going to be the one that looks the most stable after the crash. And then once people start to realize that the Security Exchange Commission has no jurisdiction over BSV, then it's really going to start to take off. Now, there's wallets which supposedly hold over 2 million BSV, which means a single person owns over 2 million BSV coins out of the 21 million. So, people are raising their stake, their percentages in these BSV coins. So I just think it's very interesting, all the stuff that's going on. Pardon me here, I'm pulling up the videos of the Grand Sport, finding them here again. Let's see, where did it go? Sorry about the delay. Okay, so I put up this video three days ago. ZR1X, and also notice the lack of the big rear wing. So I put up that, ladies and gentlemen, video 3 days ago, and none of the people. I'm going to turn this down. None of the people who are in the Corvette community who want to be like first to talk about stuff, none of them have talked about this car yet, guys. This is a really big deal. So this is the official Grand Sport. Okay, we finally are seeing it. And any vet guy would know that this is the Grand Sport because there's a few key things going on here. There is we definitely know it's not the ZR1. So here, I'm going to flip this around here. Give me a second so I can see what I'm seeing here to make sure I zoom in properly. We definitely know it's not the ZR1X. By the way, this gentleman lives in Toledo, so I assume this is the Toledo airport, which is a very low-key airport. So the question is, why is this special car with a completely different rear glass, middle spine, why is this car at the Toledo airport? Well, if you were going to have a cargo plane, fly this thing to, another place far away, like let's say the Ring, and you wanted to get it there quickly because you're ready to go ahead and sell it, and you want to make start raising eyebrows, this airport would be ideal to go to instead of, and also if you wanted to, but anyway, this airport would be ideal to go to instead of Detroit because Detroit's just too busy. It's too big of a deal. It's easier to have a plane come in here and not have to pay all the fees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here on the rear glass. See that little thing there? That's the camera, I believe. And so I'm going to pause it. Well, we'll go ahead and play it. But see, the camera's there on that rear glass. And what that does is it sees underneath the big wings. Okay, so whether it's the Z06 high wing that they put on the car or whether they put another style high wing on the car, or if it's the ZR1 high wing that they put on the car, it doesn't matter what high wing they put on the car, this camera can see underneath. Sorry, I'm trying to get that light out of the way for you, that light reflection. That camera right there can see underneath the wing. Okay, so I think that's the camera because it's put in a position where it sees under the wing. So I really want you to focus at that glass of what's going on. And I also want to mention that the carbon fiber wheels, which are the Grand Sport pattern from the C7, the carbon fiber wheels, I've always said those are Grand Sport wheels. They're the Grand Sport design. So they've been delayed, for, a year or whatever it is. They said it'd be late availability. And I said, yeah, once they relaunch the Grand Sport, the carbon fiber wheels will be available. So look there at that little spine And notice the glass, it's not, like, let's put it this way. This car should be being talked about by Brink of Speed, Rick Conti, Justin at Horsepower Obsessed, but it's my opinion that they're all GM puppets and they follow GM's rules, and therefore they're not allowed to talk about it. Corvette Blogger, these guys are not allowed to talk about things that GM does not want them to talk about. So those of you thinking, oh, these guys are where I'm going to get my latest Corvette information, no, you're not, because they've all effectively been put underneath GM's thumb where, for one reason or another, GM has them under their thumb. Anyway, so let's just play this again. Okay, notice that this is covered in a weird way. Again, look at that. There's something there, and I'm going to pause it. Notice how there's not the slats like the regular ZR1X. We don't have the slats all the way down. Okay, the ZR1X has two separate glass and then the slats. So does the ZR1. So this is not a ZR1 or a ZR1X. This is another car, guys, and no one is reporting it. And it's got the high wing stubs. Okay, so I'm going to rewind a little bit here and get back. Well, we'll just let it play around in the circle again. It's got the high wing stubs to mount the high wing. So it's either going to have the ZR1 high wing, the big wing, or it's going to have the Z06 high wing, okay? But look here, what's going on here. This is interesting, all the stuff that's going on. It's different. It's not what you're used to seeing, okay? So again, we're going to see the stubs here for the wings. There's one stub, and there's two stubs. This has been out in the open now for 3 days, guys. Mike L. posted this in one of the highest populated Z06 ZR1 groups that there is, and no one's talking about it, which is pretty fishy if you stop and think about that. So anyway, I'm the only guy talking about that. I'm first to figure out a lot of stuff, guys, and I told everybody a long time ago that the convertible that Taj Juchter had up on stage with Mark, when Mark was in the yellow car and Taj was in the purple car, I said that purple car is the Grand Sport, and Clayton Smith literally banned me from the group over that discussion. He said I was full of shit, that I was a psycho, basically, who couldn't let go of the fact that I'm wrong, just wouldn't respect that I was like, no, I know that this is coming, guys. I know that the Grand Sport, that those are the Grand Sport wheels, that's the pass-through. Anyway, so I appreciate those of you contacting me. I got a guy contacting me right now talking about the guy with the problem. He's having cylinder 1, 3, 7 misfires. Been down that road. I've explained what's going on. I knew it would be a problem with more cars. The guy's having trouble with his car now when it's getting, cooler outside. He's probably at sea level on top, but we'll find out. But anyway, okay, so back to I think I've covered everything I need to cover in this episode. It's long enough. We're almost to 20 minutes. That's what this channel is about, guys. It's just I try to help people out. So again, BSV is at $26, and I'm going to go back to the volume on BSV because this is pretty important that you understand the volume that's going on here. If you go to a 7-day chart, you'll see that the volume, which is, let me pull it up here so you guys can see it. You'll see that the volume, it was large right here, okay, and it hasn't tapered back down yet to where it was before that. So it's been holding steady at 10% traded per day, but it's gotten back up close to 20% there for a little period. Let's go out to a month. Look at the volume increase. So we were coming down in price, and then all of a sudden volume increase. And so it's hanging right around the 10% mark, guys. Every day, 10% of the whole entire BSV market cap is traded. That's a really big deal, okay? And again, I've talked about this in the past. The exchanges trading it are British-based, and Britain seems to be ahead of the game. So let's scroll down here and I'll show you. So if we go down here to the exchanges, and by the way, this was delisted, so it's very difficult to buy, okay, because it got delisted from all the major exchanges. you can go to Rock Wallet or whatever. But anyway, if I go down here to the exchanges that trade it and I go to the 24-hour volume and I sort by that, IndoX, okay, is the number one. And look, there's a few of them. So IndoX owns these multiple exchanges. And so with these multiple exchanges, $99 million worth traded through that one exchange. Then we come down to the next IndoX, $10 million traded, $7 million, $5 million, $4 million. So collectively between the IndoX exchanges, just in the last 24 hours, we have, let's just add that up, 110, 124, 129, basically 135. Okay, so $135 million worth of a coin that has a market cap of $530 million. So you can see that's a huge percentage of the coins are circulating around on the IndoX exchanges. So if it's being kept down, those exchanges are the ones are the ones that are keeping it down, okay? Which is fine, but just know they're doing that so that they have the ability to buy it. And again, notice the volume spiked up. And also notice that the volume is measured in dollars instead of quantity. So that's a way that they cloak the actual quantity. Because when we go back to like a 1 month chart, let's go back out to a 1 year, for instance. So when you see this chart down here, that's based on dollars. It's not based on quantity. So of course that should be higher. That should be twice as high because you have twice as high of a price, right? 75 is obviously much higher than 26. But the point is, it's not necessarily twice as high. Okay, let's zoom out to the all. Okay, it's not twice as high. Now don't get me wrong, it is higher there, but those were big prices. That was up when it was between $200 and $400, at least $150 to $400 in those ranges. So of course that's higher. So what they have now is they have it looking like it's not being traded that much, when in reality, if you could go back here, you'd probably see that it wasn't as big of a percentage of the total volume being traded. You see what I'm saying? The total market cap versus how much was being traded. We can't see that back here. We can only see what's going on recently as far as the dailies are concerned. And we know that it's been getting up close to 20% of the total volume traded in a single day. So again, why do I like BSV? Because it can never be ruled, if it's given a fair shake, it can never be ruled by the SEC as a commodity. Okay? Like, do you understand? Like, if you have Bitcoins, they start with 3. The BTCs, they start with the number 3. This one starts with the number 1. It retains the original number 1 that the whole thing started with. All right? So that's it. It is in computer language, this is the first one that ever existed. This is the original. See ya.